Hi, I'm Kewie. I talk about things I like and things that make me want to rip off my skull. So, can someone tell me why 5 of my last 6 videos have been pissing me off? Last week was literally the first time in 2 months where I covered something cute and wholesome. So, imagine my distraught when I checked on YouTube Studio and the first comment I found was a guy that immediately wants me to go back to Gooner shit. My man, my brother, I really love your content, but I'm gonna subscribe to your channel only to get wholesome recommendation. You get my drift? So next time, I want some unhinged content, please. I kinda need it. Okay, just because of that guy, I am now upset at every single one of you. Just once in the past few months, and I am instantly getting put back in the torture chamber. Well, don't blame us. We enjoyed it. We want you to keep doing it. I want to hear it. I don't usually use this metric, but the fact that this video is also the worst performing video in the last 10 speaks a lot of volume. So don't come over to me talking about gaslighting because I have proof. Or maybe that video performed bad because I didn't call the main character Albert or something, I don't know. Either way, I'm kind of in a bind. On one hand, I don't want to just keep doing unhinged shit because I feel like that can get old pretty quick. But on the other hand, I do want to give what the people ask for because, well, I'm a little bitch. So, what the heck do I do? No, seriously, I don't know what you guys want. Matter of fact, can you just give me a minute? Let me just think about this for a little bit. Yeah? Oh, why don't I just cover something cute and degenerate? Holy shit, I'm a genius! Today we're gonna be talking about a doujin series I found not too long ago with the codes 655847 and 657424. Now, if you think that me talking about sweet mangas have been rare nowadays, you would be shocked to hear that I haven't covered any doujinshis since 8 months ago. So yeah. We're kind of in a recession. Regardless, I want to talk about the sauce as it is created by one of my favorite artists of all time, Karasuchan. I was a pretty big fan of his previous work as he did a very good job in telling a dark and twisted story while still giving us an optimistic message by the end of the conclusion, but at the same time, I feel like the sequel of that series left a little bit to be desired. So, will this new series Karasuchan has started overcome its predecessor by becoming my next favorite, or would it fall short and stay as the little bro and become the disappointment? No younger sibling was hurt by the making of that sentence. Well, in order to get into that, let me first give a brief recap into what the story is about. This is the story of an ordinary college girl who was as ordinary could be. Ordinarily cutting up morning classes, ordinary gacha addiction, ordinarily trolling by telling people your mama jokes as she is playing her ordinary NTR game.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Now, from the look on her face, it's pretty clear to see that she is what we would call a veteran gamer, which can be a double-edged sword. Because when you're associated with that word, you are either someone pretty cool or someone who probably lives in shit and piss. And I think the best way we can determine on where she sits on is from the way she speaks, the way she acts, and the way she talks to people. Yeah, she probably stinks. However, she would then get hit with the consequences of her actions as the person she trolled online started threatening that he is going to find where she lives and do very unholy things to her. She brushed it off as harmless barking and thought nothing of it. That is until not long after she heard the doorbell and opened to see that very same dude who threatened her is right outside the apartment. Who looks like that. I feel like they're missing a tag in here. So then, now that he's here, will he make do with his promise and follow through with his threat? Short answer, yes. Long answer, no. But kinda. See, this girl is a pro gamer max. She adapts to situations pretty damn quickly. During the entire time, you didn't need to worry about her at all because no matter the situation, she never abandons her quest of rage baiting in every single turn. I knew we were witnessing a different specimen when one of her lines was to say this shit. A little stranger came into her house and held her with his tail that has the strength of a fucking hammer, and she still goes on to give him a middle finger. And my biggest worry is that this setup of a story is usually packed with a certain tag that I personally dislike to see if I want to have a good day. But her energy to just go with whatever is thrown at her just makes the situation go from a predicament to something more adventurous. Seeing this guy constantly trying to get his revenge while this girl is still talking shit back at every given turn makes it feel less like you're watching a beef, but rather a quarrel between two internet trolls that try to outdo the other. It's like seeing two homies battle in an otherwise steamy setup. It's like seeing two tsunderes have a sun battle. It's like seeing a sparring battle between two best friends. Or I would say that until that friendship eventually leads to more of a romance. It's usually said that opposites attract, but their relationship is more fitting to the saying, two peas in a pod. They truly feel like two master baiters. YouTube, don't cancel me, I'm trying to say master of baiting. They truly feel like two masters finally meeting their match, and what that does is leads to little scenes sprinkled in every once in a while that sparks a bit of cuteness between the two to develop the wholesome meter even more. For example, this girl is a pro gamer at this suspiciously NTR looking game, while our boy Albert is a pro gamer at Mario Smash Bros, if you catch my drift. So a lot of the times, you can clearly see that he solos this girl by showing his talent and experience. However, he lacks critical information. This girl is a pro gamer max, M-A-X max. How many times do I have to say this? She is like Mahoraga and Isagi combined together. Once a troublesome predicament arrives, she adapts and overcomes the situation immediately, leading our boy Albert to get caught off guard. Then they also get to a sweet little moment where Alberto gets hungry and she initially tells him to eat shit, but then proceeds to cook him some food anyway. Then there is another scene of her getting more proactive, which starts stealing his heart. Then it eventually leads to Albert making the climax of the story by him clearly showing interest towards her, which made her blush for the very first time. So the first part ends with Albert being the victim of falling in love with our girly pop, but the seeds of interest for our girly pop is solidly planted. Overall, I give the part 1 a cute little 8.5 out of 10, but that means nothing if the second part is trash. So, into the verse we go!
Ai, que loucura! Ai, que loucura! Ai, que loucura!
Now, part 2 is double the length of the previous part, so I would hope that they cover a lot more bases. And holy hell, they do that. So the second part starts out in the point of view of our ordinary girly pop college twink again, except this time in a completely different mental state to how we saw her before. Our pro gamer Max bitch poop is visibly more irritated. The master baiter is now the one getting baited, and the person who usually adapts to situations is in a worse losing streak than when I am playing Undertale. But when enough is enough, she slumped into her bed and wallowed in her depression. And by depression, I mean making a ruckus in her bed as she frustratingly thinks about the events that happened with her Albert. And at first you would think she was angry due to embarrassment. Yes, but it was more of a cringe type of embarrassment, as she starts thinking back on all the sweet words that Albertino said to her that day. Then we move on to the perspective of Obama, as he is about to do a Mario Smash session with his coworker, but was cancelled due to him backing out. Now our coworker is like, son, we talked about this. What on earth is going on with you? And he's like, I don't know, man. I can't stop thinking about the dumbass from yesterday. And she's like, ooh, then what the actual fuck are you waiting for? Go and ask her out already. What? Come on, I don't think of her that way. Jesus, I'm the person that has one, but you're the biggest pussy in the room right now. And after some back and forth, he eventually caved in and texted her to go and hang out. In the girlie's mind, she's like, yes, that's what I've been needing. I just need to make a video with him like last time and become the #1 pro gamer like last time. So the next weekend, they go and meet up, and before I could think of what to say, Albert sees the word out of my mouth and complimented on her outfit, which made her blush. God damn it, I was literally about to say that. No, really though, this drip is fire. I kinda wanna have that for myself. By the way, if you guys aren't in the Discord, I promise to do a femboy cosplay if I hit 100k. Sorry, just had to plug that in there. And as the day goes on, girly pop gets the biggest confusion of her life as she expected to get straight into the action but was met with Albertino being actually gentle and brought her out to go on an ordinary date. And she's like, what the flip is all this? So she drags him out to a secluded spot and coerces him to do a quick little Mario to get him going into content creator mode that she saw him last time. But after 5 to 6 pages, they go back to Disneyland again, and he gets her face red. Again. So she tries to do it again, gets to the date again, back and forth, then one Smash session, he tries to make a movie into a romantic moment, only to get rejected by girly pop even though she's the one who keeps on inviting him to the action scenes. Then the breaking point snaps, they get into an argument, but unlike the fun harmless ones that we saw in the first part, this one had a heavier atmosphere. This time, there was more emotional weight behind her words. Albert gets frustrated as he thinks she's leading him on. Girly pop crashes out because she came expecting the same thing as last time, only to be bombarded with a lot of affection that is somewhat alien to her. And as she calls out how he's being crazy for even trying to get with her, he crashes out and questions her obsession with climbing up the ranks. She fires back by saying that he simply wouldn't get it. He starts boiling and suggests, well, why don't you just fucking find someone else? Go with someone higher ranked than him and get into the leaderboards with that guy instead. To which the biggest drop of the series happens, as she slaps his face to end the argument that seemed to last forever. And after the silence falls, he opens his mouth to retaliate like always, only to stop in his words as he sees a scene unfamiliar to him. The girl that seems so strong for all the times he's seen her make an expression that he's never once witnessed, nor something he could even think was possible for her. There's a girl who never backs down from a fight and always brings the energy into the pages no matter dire the situation, yet a few words from her Albert was enough to move her to tears. From the girl who would spew out the most toxic sentences without a care in the world, this second part is the most expressive side we've seen of her, and it all happened the moment she's met this giant shark? Whatever the fuck he is. Actually, this is a perfect time for me to pause, but what exactly is this world? I thought it was a type of world like Sing, where everyone is a human but just moved around under the skins of animals for aesthetic purposes. So we can see Girly Pop as a human 100%, yet it is definitely confirmed that Albertarama is a different species altogether. A Hell Cayman, which is probably one of the coolest names for a race ever. They are incapable of lying, always keeps their words, and when they find a desirable mate, they mark them. This will come into play later, because it also serves as a warning to others as to say, this woman is mine. Not gonna lie, that's kinda tough. Now then, I thought this would be the extent of his race, just freaky male yanderes that we see in YN fanfics, but after the argument, Girly Pop leaves in a crowd and goes inside a taxi. Then a taxi driver starts looking at her with lecherous eyes and starts to become a seatbelt? Okay, seriously, where are we? Is this the MHA universe with the freakiness of X-Men mutants? By the way, I'm not complaining, I find the setting very interesting. Because after this fiasco, Girly Pop screams, and apparently, Albert has super hearing and jumps all the way across town and does a superhero landing to save the day. Is this something all Hell Caymans are capable of? Or are you just built different? I would hope it's the latter, because although the scene of him saving Girly Pop while delivering this line that says, "Don't you lay your hands on my woman" is incredibly cute and sweet, and brings out my Sabrina Carpenter, I would be terrified if there are multiple civilians who not only has the powers of the Hulk, but can also shoot a Bijudama. Anyways, this scene is aura, this hug is wholesome, this scene made my heart melt, but my biggest takeaway from this scene is that I need Karasu-chan to make a shonen stat. Now, I've already covered the majority of the story, but I am purposefully leaving out the rest of the 60 pages for you guys to read for yourself. Y'all know me, I try not to brief up entire stories because I do not want to be labeled as a recap channel, because I think those are bad for your brain. But I think I've done a good enough job in selling the series to you while also giving enough material for me to talk about all the things I like from this doujin. I think the chemistry between these two are off the charts. It's crazy how you like to see these two together no matter what they are doing. You can see them fight each other, you can see them acting gentle with each other, arguing with each other, being completely awkward with each other, breaking the fourth wall together. No matter the situation, as long as they are 2 in 1, you are guaranteed to having a good time. But that is not to say they aren't great characters individually. Maybe Albert is the one who gets the least off the two, but that's probably because the writing for Girly Pop's character is just too good in comparison. Karasu-chan does a great job in adding subtlety to his characters, that small lines that seem like throwaways are actually hints into what the character is going through. Since the very beginning, we thought the personality of her being a pro gamer and always obsessing over being the #1 in any leaderboard was a gag, and just like a quirk that she has that makes her different from the other girls. But then you see that it gets even deeper than that. Instead, there is genuine backstory, a clear motivation in why she is the way she is, and without spoiling it, that shit hit me hard. That dooming sense of inferiority complex, anxiety, prideful ego, all of which could be summed up in this one character. Yet, there is still hope for someone like her. Nothing wrong with living by yourself, but to get any sort of notice from someone else who understands where you're coming from is inspiring, which makes their scenes together work that much more. All of which are packaged in probably Karasu's artistry in his best form yet. The illustrations of this manga are downright phenomenal, whether it's trying to convey a more romantic feel, a heavier atmosphere, or when it decides to become a battle shonen, fantastic work from the artist, no complaints. I came into the sauce expected to see either the same as his previous series or something that fell behind it, so imagine my surprise to not only see an improvement to an already great story, but also to find something superior in almost every way. They are hinting on a part 3. I personally don't think they need it because the ending of the second part is already pretty conclusive, but being a big fan of the story as it is, I am down to read whatever Karasu throws at me. So I am going to give 655,847 and 657,424 a very good score of 10 out of 10. Damn, that's 2 in a row. Why do I feel like the next video is going to kill me?
Ai, que loucura. Ai, que loucura. Ai, que loucura.
I need to tell you guys one thing that you guys have to hear. Yes, there is a Discord server available for the Kewie community, but I do not own it. I don't own it, I didn't create it, I'm not even on there most of the time. However, if you are interested in joining it, the link to the server invite is available in the description below, along with the Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon, where you can watch the uncensored version of this video in its full glory. And also the second channel where I either talk about animangas and weird shit, or go live to play Undertale and do whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's there, so go and check it out. Anyways, that's all I have to say. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.